Hello, friends! A couple of years ago, there was an incredible story that flew around the world in a few days and won millions of hearts. I'll tell it to you today. Audrey was an ordinary woman. She raised her three children whom she loved very much and, like a really good mother, tried to make sure that they did not need anything. For that, she had to work two jobs at once, which allowed her to provide her family with all the best. Audrey had far-reaching plans. She often dreamed of playing with her grandchildren in many years, enjoying their many smiles and laughter, and generally leading a happy life. It probably would have been if one morning at the end of 2018, she didn't feel bad. At first, Audrey thought she was just tired, so she decided not to go to work for a few days. But 3 days later, she didn't feel any better and had to go to the hospital. The doctors did not diagnose immediately, but asked Audrey to stay in the hospital for a few more days so they could conduct a more thorough examination. There was no one to leave the children with at this time, so Audrey had to turn to a neighbor, Tisha. Tisha herself, a mother of 5, was surprised by the request, as she and Audrey had previously only had a cursory acquaintance. However, she immediately agreed, especially since Audrey explained that she only needed to stay in the hospital overnight for an examination. At the time, Tisha had no idea how much her life would change after such a favor. Audrey returned from the hospital the next day as promised. Even though she didn't say anything, she looked heartbroken. Tisha understood that something was wrong, and with long persuasions, she was able to find out what had happened. What Audrey said changed the lives of all the characters in the story forever. It turned out that the doctors had diagnosed Audrey with second-degree stomach cancer. And according to their forecasts, the single mother had very little left. Such terrible news turned the life of a joyful woman in a moment. But even now, she was most concerned about the future of her children, who would take care of them when she was gone. Audrey had no choice. Just a few days before she passed away, she asked Tisha to become guardians for her children. For Tisha, such a request was like a bolt from the blue, but she understood perfectly well how hard it would be for the children after the death of their own mother. Once she herself had lived in an orphanage. By this time, she had grown to like Audrey's children, and her 5 children had become close friends with them. And even despite the fact that the Buscema family did not live in prosperity and their house barely fit 8 people, she could not refuse. She hugged Audrey and promised to talk to her husband because he shouldered the burdens of the family. When the man heard about such a request, he was confused, but did not hesitate for a long time. Just a few seconds later, he said, "As long as I have the strength, I will not allow these children to be in an orphanage. I will do everything to make them happy." Just a few days after this conversation, Audrey fell ill from a terrible illness. And the Buscema couple took a desperate step. They adopted all her children. From the moment of first acquaintance to the moment of adoption, only about a month passed. From 2 already large families, one huge one turned out. The Buscema family now had 8 children. New parents surrounded their adopted children with care and love, and new siblings willingly shared their bedrooms, wardrobes, and bathrooms. However, everyone understood that the house could no longer accommodate such a large family. Someone slept in the kitchen, someone in the hallway, and someone even on the floor, and there was no question of personal space in such a large dwelling. But even so, there was love and care in the house. Tisha and her husband did not divide the children into theirs and adopted. They were one loving family. Maybe this could be the end of her story. But one day, employees of a local TV channel knocked on Tisha's door. It turned out that the story of the heroic woman appeared in social networks, and later, her neighbors began to send letters to the editor of the channel with a request to help a large family. Employees of the channel decided that they could not stay away and decided to help. The Buscemans dreamed of dividing one nursery into 2 small bedrooms, making repairs, and buying new furniture for the children. The producers of the TV channel were so imbued with the act of Tisha and her husband that they decided to help in this. They put the whole family in a hotel for a few days, and the Buscema house was renovated during this time. Work was in full swing. The best designers and engineers developed a completely new interior of the house, in which there was a place for everyone. They went beyond the installation of one wall. The renovation of the house took took a little less than a month. When the whole family entered the renovation home, they were speechless. Even in their wildest dreams, the Bushmans could not have imagined such a thing. It was a touching moment. The kids were crying with happiness and could not get enough of their new bedrooms, and the parents admired the functional living room and kitchen. In addition, all new furniture was installed in the house, and the space was divided into several living areas. You may have already realized that there were more surprises. The act of the parents was so highly appreciated by the society that in addition to the repair, the TV channel also gave the family an annual certificate for the free purchase of food for their entire family. Parents were so happy when the hostess handed the eldest son, who was already 18, a gift box which contained a certificate for a large amount to buy his own separate housing. But the surprises were not over. On this touching note, the family was asked to go outside where another surprise was waiting for them near the house, namely a large family car, which they would now be able to use all together. Tisha couldn't hold back her tears at what she saw. She said that they were very lucky and that they did not do anything special, but the people around them thought otherwise. When the Bushmans decided to take 3 orphan children, they did not even think about any personal gain, but it was this kind of dedication that won people over. All the gifts were purchased with donations from ordinary citizens and money from patrons. Everyone without exception admired the act of Tisha and her husband. Now there are 10 people in the huge Bushman family. They live in a renovated house and do not need anything. They want to go with the whole family to the ocean in the new car to have a little rest. After all, they have so much to do. There is a lot of work ahead. Others are sure that the act that Tisha and her husband did cannot be evaluated with money. Each of the neighbors wanted to help them because they really deserve it. What do you think of the couple's action? Be sure to write your opinion in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and see you soon. Bye!